Hello everybody, I'm back. Let's get on with the update. So, starting with the diet update, I weighed myself this morning, currently 163.2. I can't catch a break. I've been stuck at that weight for like 3 days in a row now. I mean, I'm sure it's natural and I wouldn't want my body to lose like a pound a day because that would probably be absurd, but I don't know. It is frustrating stepping on the scale each and every morning and not seeing it go down. I mean, it did go down a day, 0.2, but 1 pound would be better. Maybe I'll have that result tomorrow morning. All right, well, what did I eat today? Well, in the morning, I had 1 bag of the Sour Blobs, a keto candy with only 9 grams of carbohydrates. Then I had half a serving of the green bean snacks, which is only 6 grams of carbohydrates, net carbohydrates, I should say. Then I had 2 eggs, 3 bacons, and 2 keto toasts, each one only having 1 gram of net carbs. So ultimately, I ate around like 17 grams of carbs in the morning. And I also had like 3 cups of coffee. All right, well, what did I eat later at night? I wanted to keep things simple, something that was satiating enough, but also kind of sweet without breaking the carb limit. So I had 5 strawberries with the green leaves removed, and they were medium sized, and a 1/4 cup of blueberries with 0 sugar whipped cream on top. And it was quite good. And a cup of chamomile and black tea infused together. And that's pretty much what I ate today. I am planning on taking my vitamins before going to bed so I get my magnesium and all the vitamins I need before going to sleep. Any exercise? Yes. And this time, I am proud to admit that I have done my first dedicated exercise in honestly quite a while. I know you could probably say, well, what about your walks around the neighborhood? Aren't those considered dedicated? Yes, but I mean like where I'm actually working every part of my body, not just my legs. And I busted out an old game that my sister encouraged me to bust out called Ring Fit Adventure on the Nintendo Switch. I used to play that game with my mom during COVID when we were stuck in the house and we couldn't get out, and we were feeling kind of cabin fevery and like a bit lazy, and we wanted to do something to make us feel like we were getting some exercise in, and we found this game, and it ended up being a really good purchase because the game has a lot of really good exercises. It has a fun presentation. The way it feels to control and move around is a blast. It's honestly one of the best reasons to get a Nintendo Switch, in my opinion. It turns the device from your basic standard home console handheld hybrid to some like your own personal exercise coach. It's a really cool little device. I ended up exercising in 16 minutes. I sweated a whole lot, and I melted out 58 calories in total, which doesn't sound like a lot, but considering I was using every part of my body during that whole endeavor, it honestly felt really rewarding just seeing that number, albeit seemingly a small number, go down. And I was so wiped out by the end, I didn't really have it in me for anymore. I couldn't even if I wanted to because I needed to go to work. But it was a really great time. I really enjoyed it. Highly recommend if you want a fun gamified version of exercising and you just so happen to have a Switch lying around. Really cool. Not sure if it's still being sold, but if it is, check it out. Well, anyways, enough gushing about that. Also, just plenty of walking around work today, same as any day where I go to work. And that's it when it comes to the health update. All right, let's get on with the daily update. So here's what happened. And I actually wrote this down like I did the previous 2 days, so I'm just gonna go over it here. So at 6:51 a.m. I woke up, used the restroom, then went back to sleep. At 9 a.m. I was woken up by my mom. I was told about possible protein and fast diet due to a tightened budget, and then she left for work. Then at 9:20 a.m. I was asked to open the door by my mom so she could get something. I was woken up from my sleep again. So I got the thing, she left, and I went back to sleep. Then at 9:25 to 9:55, I laid at bed basically just staring at the ceiling. 9:55 to 10. I wandered around the house before going to my room, turning on the TV, updating the PS4 console, and browsing YouTube for a video to watch. Then at 10 to 10:45 a.m., I watched a video of a woman talking about how concerned she was about the state of education for children in the United States, saying 40% are struggling with reading. Worrying statistic. Then at 10:45 to 10:50 a.m., I found another video about a lady talking about how Pixar's current batch of films have focused far too much on trauma instead of broadly appealing stories. While watching, I had low-carb sour blobs and half a serving size of green bean snacks and a Fresca zero-calorie beverage. At 10:50 to 11 a.m., I needed to use the restroom due to the sour candies giving me the need to go. Then 11 to 11:30, I watched another video of a guy talking about a former Pixar Disney creative officer, John Lasseter, and his poor leadership while making and then consuming 3 slices of bacon, 2 eggs, and 2 keto toasts with grass-fed butter. Then 11:30 to 11:55 a.m., I wrote and logged in this journal. So, yeah. That's pretty much what happened. After I was done logging in, I was wondering, okay, so I've logged in my journal for 3 days straight. How can I use this information to better myself? So I thought, I'll take pictures of it, of what I have been doing, and send it through to a chatbot called Claude. And the reason why I chose Claude over anything like GPT or Gemini was because Claude is a more objective chatbot that sees things through a more objective lens versus the other chatbots that basically act extremely sycophantic and treat you like you're winning a participation trophy instead of giving you cold hard facts. So that's why I chose Claude. And when I opened it up, I asked, hey, is it alright if I share with you some logs I did from my previous 3 days and you can give me what is working and what I need improvement on? And it said alright, so I did. And after I sent the information in, basically the info it gave me was quite interesting. It said that I seem like I'm more of an audience member in my life than I am an active actor or participant in my life. I'm just watching things go by instead of being part of it. And it said that the things that are good is that I am trying to have a form of accountability by doing these uploads, of writing in my journal, of trying to have a self-awareness. But it said if I don't use this knowledge to my advantage, it ends up just being another form of procrastination instead of something that actually is going to be beneficial to me. Which is ironic because it wouldn't have this data if it weren't for me giving it to it, which is from me taking the time to write it down. But basically, what it said is what you need is to associate something that you need to do with something that you do on the regular. So for example, it gave me this cool little thing, this little challenge. If you want to watch a YouTube video, any YouTube video, just because you usually go one after the other, before watching it, do 10 push-ups. And then after you're done doing your push-ups, you can allow yourself to watch the video. And do that for 3 days and see how it affects your motivation, and it gives you pause and makes you more conscious of your decision making, so you end up making better decisions. I really liked that answer. It felt like a more tangible and more applicable answer than something I would have gotten from ChatGPT or Gemini. I feel like Claude is honestly, when it comes to practical and addressable advice, I think it knocks it out of the park. And I definitely would recommend Claude if, say you need some sort of AI coach. Because I gotta be honest with you, when it gave me that advice, I wanted to try it out. So when I felt the urge to want to watch another YouTube video, I stopped myself and was like, oh, I should probably do 10 push-ups before watching it, see it as a little reward. So I did the 10 push-ups and I watched the video and I enjoyed it. I believe it was The Diary of a CEO, continuation of the debate between the spiritual thinker, the atheist, and the Christian. And it made it feel earned. It made it feel like something that was, something I actually worked for. And the cool thing about it is it actually is helping me move on a little bit with my overall goal, which is just general body health. So I'm mixing something that I know I should be doing, but I'm choosing not to and going through the path of least resistance with something that I, do anyways, and using it as my little currency. Like, you did the 10 push-ups, here you go, now you can watch your video, actually makes me think about do a double take before going on YouTube and watching something, because I'm thinking to myself, ooh, I just did that long walk, I did that long exercise, and now I gotta do 10 push-ups if I want to watch something. Do I really want to watch it, or am I just saying that because I'm bored and I don't want to deal with other things in my life? So I think, honestly, it's a really awesome trick, and I would recommend it. Generally helps you see your media consumption in a more thoughtful and conscious light than it would have before. Really cool. All right, that's enough gushing about applicable and really good advice from a robot. Let's move on to what happened next. So after I got that really good information, my sister wanted to know if I wanted to go to the gym with her. I said I'd like to, but I want to do at least a half hour of editing on my personal YouTube video project that I've been putting off for like 3, 4, 5 days, something like that. I know, pretty bad. So I did that project, half an hour. I was able to cut out a good 2 minutes over that time. Yeah, and then I rewatched my first video to see how it would flow to the next video. And it really made me more happy because I was doing something that I knew I was like, this is like me documenting me teaching myself some skills. I'm having evidence while also contributing to the evidence at the same time. I think that's really cool. So yeah, really awesome. I felt great after doing that. And then afterwards, my sister said, hey, instead of going to the gym, since you gotta be at work in about an hour and a half by now, how about we instead do that Ring Fit game? And I was like, all right, well, let's do it. I'll set everything up. So I set everything up, and I honestly forgot how much fun Ring Fit Adventure really was. I just have been putting it off because I was living a really unhealthy lifestyle, like eat a bunch of junk food after work, just sit down, watch TV or play video games, and then rinse and repeat. And I was getting big. But doing this Ring Fit made me realize how much fun and how rewarding it is to take your health seriously and to actually work on it. So I'm really glad my sister convinced me to bring it out. It was a lot of fun. We had another little exercise yoga ring with us that my sister could use. We started off by doing the ab crunch challenge, where you have to squeeze the ring multiple times in order to get a high score. My sister ended up getting 81. I was only able to get like 76. That was my highest score. The next thing we did was we did the adventure mode, specifically my adventure mode, because we each started our own adventure modes, and I was doing mine where I left off. And we had to go to a level where we had to go to Drago, the main villain of the game. And it starts off where you have to do constant squats, like you have to squat and build up like tension in a spring launcher, and when you go up, the spring launches you to the next trampoline launcher thingy, and you just do that until you get to the final location. And of course there's a little bit of running in place at the beginning and the very end of that section, and it was very incredible. It felt, but at the same time it felt really like, oh my gosh, this is a lot. Like, I wasn't expecting this much. It was crazy. Well, when we got to Drago, we gave it our all. We had to defeat all of the mat arrays, because they're workout mats, and they're there to heal Drago every time his health goes down. So we had to use attacks that took out all of the enemies. And once we did, we thought that we were gonna lose in the last take because we only had 1 heart left, and our healing power up, where you have to do a yoga move where you spread your legs over and then in and over, it was not available. because we had used it 2 turns, so we thought we were doomed. But little did we know, doing a little hip shake left and right ended up annihilating Drago. And we succeeded, and it was a very rewarding and fun time. Very much enjoyed it. And even though it was 16 minutes, due to all the exercise involved, it honestly felt like 30 minutes, but in a good way, where it felt like you were getting a lot done in a short space of time, which is pretty awesome. Well, after that whole experience, we did take a break in the middle to get some water. In fact, the exercises were so intense, my sister was sweating like crazy, and she felt like she needed to throw up from all that exercise. It was pretty intense. Like, honestly, those people at Nintendo don't mess around. At least the people who developed this game. But after that whole experience, I needed to go in my room, get dressed, and go. So I left. I said goodbye to my sister and my mom, but before leaving, I washed my face a little bit, put some moisture cream because my face was looking a little chafed. And then my sister wanted to put some sunscreen on my face before leaving, so I let her do that. And, she gave me some sunscreen, and I did it myself. And then me and my mom had to leave at the same time. My sister had to get out of the way from behind me. And then we were off. I had a 4-hour shift today from 4 to 8, and everything went off pretty swimmingly. I can't really think of anything negative that happened. It was a solid time. First hour was spent bagging. Second hour, I was originally supposed to just bag for 2 hours, do lot for 1 hour, then bag again for another hour. But this time, I bagged for the first hour. The second hour, I was given sweep duty by one of my coworkers, and I thought, well, I could take the steps. So I did it, and I had sweeps for the second hour, lot for the third hour, and then bagging for the fourth hour. And yeah, that's pretty much it. I mean, I was very friendly to the customers. I said, hello, how are you? Although there was one guy who was kind of rude, not gonna lie. He was like an older gentleman, or maybe not gentle at all, but he had like earphones in, and his directions were really unclear, and like I was having a hard time understanding him. I was trying to put his food in the basket because he seemed like he didn't want any bags, but then he said, no, I can't reach if you have them down there. I was like, oh, sorry, okay, I'll put him up here. He was a pretty fiery old guy, but also very rude. I wish he, with someone who's reached that age, you'd expect them to have a better attitude, but I guess some people take a little longer to learn to have a better attitude. Enough drama. Everyone else was great. I won't let one bad apple spoil the rest. But yeah, it was fine. One of my coworkers was having the Dodger game on their phone in a drawer while they were doing their, scanning and bagging. Like, they had it on during their downtime when they were looking around, and there was no one there to ask to have their groceries rung up and bagged. Yeah, he was watching the Dodgers versus the Reds sporadically, not all the time, only when he had a chance to. But yeah, he was telling me about it and all these different teams and things. It was pretty interesting. Well, after that, I punched out, said goodbye to my coworkers, and then left for home. When I got home, I noticed there was lots of bags on the floor. I was like, whoa, what's with all these bags? And I went out in the back. It turns out my mom was in the room we had built in, and she was basically putting a bunch of new stuff in there. She had this really cool coffee machine in the back that looked like something out of the Emerald City, and I was like, that looks pretty cool. And she warmed up the water to see how hot the water would get, and it got pretty hot. It was pretty impressive, not gonna lie. Yeah, she even got Paris cups and with the Eiffel Tower on them, and she was like, hey, wanna make something for us to have in the back room? And I was like, all right. How about a dessert with berries and whipped cream? It was sounds good to me. So I got 5 strawberries and 1/4 a cup of blueberries. I took the greens off. I put the strawberries in the bowl. 5 each and 1/4 each for me and my mom. And I put whipped cream with 0 sugar on top. And we had that with tea. And it was a really nice treat. I really enjoyed it. And we had a nice discussion. It was very good. Then, of course, today is the first day of the month, so I needed to pay my mom, so I did that. And after all of that, I was like, oh, I better do my video. So here it is. Well, overall, I'm quite satisfied with a lot of things about today. I'm glad I have that new little lesson in me about doing 10 push-ups before watching another YouTube video. I think that's a good strategy. I really like that I got a little bit of work done on my YouTube channel. You know, a little bit's better than none at all. If I could do just half hour every single day for like a whole week, I would be much farther along than where I'm currently at right now. So, you know, even just half an hour, at least something is better than nothing. And yeah, I stuck pretty close to my keto diet goals, so it's all good, all good. Well, that's pretty much all I have to say for now. Thank you for watching, and I will see you tomorrow. Goodbye, everybody, and take care.